Here we go again. Just more of the same crazy shit. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr., our secretary of how the fuck did this happen, just told America that autism destroys families. That's right. According to RFK Jr., autism is a plague on your house, on your toilets, your taxes, and somehow on my beloved game of baseball. Because nothing truly screams trustworthy public servant like a guy whose own voice sounds like a frog trying to talk through a panic attack. Let's get this straight. He said autistic people will never hold jobs, never write poems, never go on dates, and never use the toilet on their own. Like, he's the one who can't hold a job unless it's handed to him by nepotism and white privilege. I mean, he's out here talking about contributing to society while actively subtracting IQ points from the public discourse every fucking time he opens his mouth. I mean, this dude really looked at a population of neurodivergent folks, many of whom are thriving, talented, and brilliant contributors to their communities. And he said, nah, y'all are the apocalypse. No, Robert, the apocalypse is putting you in charge of public health. You ever notice how people like RFK Jr. think they're deep thinkers because they saw a Reddit thread once and confused it for a peer-reviewed journal? Like, I read this post on QAnon 2069 that said vaccines were made from moon juice and microchips. Science. Let me be crystal clear. The autistic community is not the problem. The problem is powerful, unqualified narcissists with savior complexes who think being loud equals being right. Autism doesn't destroy families. Shame, misinformation, poverty, systemic failures, inaccessible healthcare, stigma, those things destroy families. But RFK Jr. doesn't give a fuck about facts. He's too busy spreading fear like a TikTok challenge for boomers. I mean, this dude got up at a national press conference and said autistic kids will never use the toilet unassisted. That's not science. That's just you projecting your own inability to manage basic bodily functions while speaking publicly. And meanwhile, autistic folks are over here becoming poets, artists, scientists, and God fucking forbid, people with agency. There are autistic lawyers, business owners, parents, and yes, people who absolutely do pay taxes. More taxes than RFK Jr. and his Kennedy Trust Fund and Trump and all these other fuckers at the top of the mountain right now. RFK talks about environmental exposures. Like he's out here trying to solve a Scooby Doo mystery while high on colloidal silver in his own farts. Bro, Raggy, right? You think it's the air that's making people different. No, Bobby. What's making people different is that the world is finally figuring out that brains are very diverse. Not everyone needs to function like a fucking iPhone factory to be of value. But of course, a Kennedy wouldn't understand that unless it came in a gin martini and was wearing pearls. He said that shit while standing behind a podium that said health and human services. How can you how can you serve humans when you clearly don't think neurodivergent people are fully human? That's not just ignorance, that it's ableism dipped in eugenics, sprinkled with a fuckload of paternalistic bullshit. And here's the thing, RFK Jr. knows his claims have been debunked. He's not just confused, he is willfully deceptive. Because you know what sells in America? Fear. And if you can monetize a parent's anxiety, you've got a cult following in no time. He's like the Gwyneth Paltrow of conspiracy politics. Same detached from reality smugness, but instead of a jade egg in your vagina, it's injecting bleach into public policy. He said, they'll never play baseball. Oh, I'm sorry. Is baseball now the metric of a meaningful life? I've seen neurotypical dudes piss themselves on third base. Let's not act like a curveball defines personhood. Hell, Trump plays golf, and he can't even walk down a goddamn ramp without looking like a baby deer on Benadryl. So let's pump the fucking brakes on who gets to define what functional means. RFK Jr. is using his platform to push a narrative that paints autism as a tragedy, when in fact, the only tragedy here is that this guy just won't shut the fuck up. And the irony is, he says autistic people can't write poems. Meanwhile, he's writing national policy like it's one long incoherent limerick. There once was a Kennedy loon who howled at the vaccine moon. He said autism is scary while sounding all airy and spewing hot garbage by noon. This isn't a harmless old man yelling at clouds. This is a dangerous misinformation vector standing at the helm of federal health policy. He's not confused. He's calculated. Because if he can make you afraid of your own children, he can make himself the savior. But newsflash, Bobby, autistic people don't need saving. They need your fucking respect. They need resources. And they need adequate representation. You want to know what actually destroys families? Poverty wages, lack of Medicaid, underfunded special education, no paid family leave, crushing student debt, toxic masculinity, climate collapse, the goddamn Department of Health being run by a man who thinks vaccines are a government plot to inject you with gay thoughts. But yeah, let's blame the kid who stims in math class for your mortgage falling apart. That makes so much more sense. And to the parents who are outraged, and rightfully so, thank you for standing up. Thank you for saying my child is not a tragedy, because they're not. They're a fucking miracle. And a challenge sometimes, sure. But so are we. So am I. Like, and I don't see RFK Jr. trying to study the environmental toxins that made me a dick. To autistic folks everywhere, I just want you to hear this. In spite of the federal rhetoric coming from idiots like Trump and Kennedy and Vance, and you are not broken. You are not a burden. You are not less than. The world is broken for not making space for you. But I promise you this, that some of us are trying to build it better. And to RFK Jr., the only thing destroying families is your bullshit. So now, why don't you sit the fuck down before you actually hurt someone?